Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas Cowboys, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Update on Dak Prescott contract talks with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are going to have to pony up the cash to extend star quarterback Dak Prescott at some point ahead of the new league year opening next month. Prescott, 30, is set to count a whopping $59.46 million against the 2024 NFL salary cap. With Dallas' $3.23 million over the current figure, it needs to become cap compliant. All of this comes amid various reports that Prescott could very well become the highest-paid player in NFL history. That is to say, earning more than the $55 million Joe Burrow is making annually under his current contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. Despite having a sense of urgency on this end, it does not appear that Prescott and the Cowboys are close on a new deal. I was told that Dallas and Dak Prescott's reps have not had any substantial talks, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported recently. They have not discussed numbers. They could certainly meet at the NFL Combine next week, though, to at least get started to see where each side is at. It is definitely a complicated situation between Prescott and the Cowboys. They are coming off a humiliating loss to the Green Bay Packers in the NFL Wild Card playoffs. After a stellar regular season, Prescott struggled in said loss. That included 2 interceptions and a pick six. The question here is rather obvious. How much are the Cowboys willing to pony up? They are in between a rock and a hard place. Prescott has all of the negotiating power. He could technically stick it to the Cowboys. As this entire thing plays out, Dallas also has to consider signing star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb and pass rusher Micah Parsons to long-term contracts. It's a tricky situation for owner Jerry Jones and company. It's now easier for the Dallas Cowboys to walk away from Dak Prescott. On Friday, the NFL released the figures for the 2024 salary cap, $255.4 million, steamrolling past previous projections. Originally, the number was rumored to be between $240 million and $245 million. The actual number comes in $13 million above the median of that range, and Stephen Jones has to be ecstatic. Why? Because it keeps them from being strong-armed in the Dak Prescott contract negotiations. Don't get it twisted, Prescott still has like 80% of all of the leverage here. But blowing things up just became a little bit more palatable for the Jones family. Even if they do end up signing Prescott long-term, the extra room means they don't have to resolve Prescott's situation before addressing other needs. If nothing else, the additional cap space buys the Cowboys time. Why Jesse Holley believes Dallas Cowboys Micah Parsons shouldn't express his opinion. In a fresh edition of the Believe in the Dallas Cowboys podcast, longtime former Dallas wide receiver Jesse Holley revealed why he thinks Micah Parsons doesn't get to publicly weigh in on the franchise's decision-making. Simply put, Parsons is too green. Parsons, already a 3-time Pro Bowler and 2-time All-Pro, including 2 first-team selections across his 3 pro seasons out of Penn State, has not been shy about advocating for particular free agent acquisitions. During a conversation with Stephen A. Smith, he agitated for the addition of a larger linebacker and a strong interior lineman. Ending year 3, you just do not have enough mental understanding of everything going around you, Holley opined. This is not bad. And I think sometimes the other players think it's just, oh, go get a name or go get this, and this is all going to come together. Like that's not real life. This is not madness. So I'm like, if you don't have 100 games under your belt, you'll have 5 years under your belt. Just tread lightly. Start talking about having a thought process on who and what and when and where on your side of the football. I just don't think Micah has come to a point where he has enough information to be able to have an opinion on team needs, Holley continued. He's not qualified. Enough is enough. His information intake doesn't qualify him enough to say we need blah, 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 blah. Next, Holley offered up a priceless analogy to prove his point. I'm just looking at just this common sense, like, right. Like, if you had a choice in an experience, if I'm having life or death surgery, I kind of want the guy who's done it a couple of times before, right? "I don't want the new surgeon that I was out of residency for my open heart surgery," Holly said. "I want the guy who maybe has 100 of these things under his belt, same than a guy who just got to med school yesterday." The American football beast showed that they can also do the job when it comes to basketball. On Friday night, 16, Dallas Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons and Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua led Team Shannon's 100-91 victory against Team Steven in the celebrity game of the NBA. The big highlight was Micah, who recorded a double-double with an incredible 37 points and 16 rebounds. The linebacker was named the game's MVP. The duel, which took place in the city of Indianapolis in the United States, opened the All-Star Game competitions, an event that takes place on Sunday, 18, and features the best players from the current NBA season. Robert Griffin III makes strong case for Cowboys' Saquon Barkley pursuit. The Dallas Cowboys are limping into another offseason, with the stench of disappointment growing more intolerable by the year in Jerry World. Genuine championship aspirations cannot exist in this fan base until the team proves it in the playoffs. As Aaron Sorkin brilliantly writes in A Few Good Men, everything else is just smoke-filled coffeehouse. That being said, the Cowboys cannot tend to their sorrows all off-season long and wait for the miserable cycle to begin again in September. They must upgrade their roster in the NFL draft and free agency to decrease the odds of suffering another agonizing playoff defeat. The NFC East might hold some answers on that front. The Saquon Barkley to Dallas narrative is being pushed once again. The Cowboys should raid their rival's closet and sign Saquon Barkley, Robert Griffin III posted on X. Saquon is a three-down back, who brings both flash and substance. The quad god is still one of the most dynamic players in the NFL with the ball in his hands in the open field. Time for these stars to unite. This potential pairing is quickly becoming a favorite of ESPN and the media as a whole, with former New York Jets general manager Mike Tannenbaum calling Barkley a perfect fit for the Dallas backfield. The New York Giants are not expected to use the franchise tag on the two-time Pro Bowl selection, and the Cowboys likely share the same stance on RB Tony Pollard. Therefore, the door is seemingly wide open for a union once considered unfathomable. The cost to attain Saquon Barkley's services might be more than Jerry Jones is willing to spend, however. Number 26 was inefficient as a ball carrier last year, totaling just 3.9 yards per carry, but the Giants' feeble offensive line certainly factored into the drop-off. Heath and age, 27, can mark a big decline for running backs, are undeniable concerns, though. Dallas has plenty to ponder, including Griffin's point about Barkley's versatility. If Pollard hits the open market, the Cowboys will want to replace him with another player who can be a weapon in the passing game. Why not go with one who has a higher ceiling? This possible move could also pour some fuel right back into the Cowboys' annual hype train, which is one that currently remains derailed courtesy of the Green Bay Packers. The noise around Saquon Barkley has become deafening. The former 2018 number 2 overall pick, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year and two-time Pro Bowler, is a pending free agent from the New York Giants and a popular pairing with the Houston Texans after a season where they struggled to run the ball. And you fan, what do you think of the Saquon Barkley situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.